Congratulations, everybody. Profit margins at the S&P 500 corporations are at an 18-year high. Oh, that's great news for the economy, right? Oh, what? Oh, it hasn't helped the economy much? Unemployment's still around 9%? Oh, that's fascinating. So this is one of 100 stories you've seen where you've got two different Americas here. Now, look, I used to find that an unfortunate way of framing it, and the guy who framed it that way wound up having a lot of unfortunate things happen to him, all due to his own doing. That's John Edwards, of course. But it turns out on that he was a little right, because every day I read a news story about how corporations literally don't know what to do with the money. They've got a record amount of cash that they are stocking. They're at up to $1.4 trillion. They're buying back their own companies, stocking their own company, because they literally don't know where to spend the money. They're at record profits. Executives are getting record bonuses. And this is yet another one of those stories that just happened today, right? And when you look at the news from the rest of America, it's devastation. High unemployment. The rate of poverty for kids in America is now near 25%, 25%, a full quarter of our kids are living in poverty. You know what poverty means? It's a family of four under $22,000 a year. That's poverty. That's very little money for a family of four. A whole quarter of the country's kids are living under those conditions. 60 Minutes had an excellent report about it. I tweeted it out on our account, twitter.com/the Turks. And you should watch that. It was amazing, right? And all of these families suffering. And nobody's hiring in the U.S. But the corporations are making money hand over fist. Why? Because they've won. They rigged the rules totally in their favor. We've told you story after story about they don't pay any taxes. Bank of America paid no taxes in 2009. ExxonMobil paid no taxes to the U.S. government, federal government, in 2009. Corporation after corporation is getting tax cuts now all across the different states. We're going to tell you about Michigan in a second because they got Republican governors elected. They got Republican legislators elected by giving them money, by running ads. Do you know that in the last election cycle, that outside groups spent $100 million more for the Republican Party than they did for the Democratic Party? Why? Because the Republican Party is going to give them everything they wanted. And that is exactly what's happening. So they're at record profits. A lot of the top companies are not paying any federal taxes at all. And meanwhile, we're getting the spending cuts. The middle class is getting ravaged. They're cutting teachers' pay, cops' pay, firefighter pay. They're saying they don't have any money for your pension. It's because, as Warren Buffett said all the way back in 2006, if you don't know, there is class warfare going on. And it's the middle class that's getting the war done upon them by the upper class. And he said, look, my class is winning. And that's exactly right. And over the last 5 years, they have won and they have won and they continue to win today. And and there's nothing wrong with record profits. If it was shared by the rest of the economy, it would be fantastic. Okay? But it's not. Instead, they have captured the government, so all the so-called shared sacrifice and shared pain comes from you, and none of it comes from them. And that's what's not right. So luckily, a lot of people have caught on to this, and now there are protests spreading everywhere. We told you about Wisconsin. Of course you know about Wisconsin. But the M&I Bank protests, where the firefighters and the cops and the teachers are withdrawing their money from a bank that supported Governor Walker. Did you know that they have a $1 billion pension fund at M&I Bank? I mean, sure, they've withdrawn on a personal level hundreds of thousands of dollars, right, from actual firefighters going to take their money out of that bank. But if they withdraw that $1 billion pension fund, here's what happens to M&I Bank. Elbow from the sky, okay? So, look, if they use their money to intimidate you and to wage war on the middle class, why shouldn't the middle class use their money to push them around and get the same results that the Koch brothers and the billionaires are getting with these people? Put a lot of thought behind it. In fact, they're already putting thought behind it, and that's why I love it. But protests are sprouting out everywhere. Now, Tom Donahue, the head of the Chamber of Commerce, going to St. Louis. He thinks he's going to a meeting. Everything's hunky-dory. Normally, king of town, nobody bothers him. Boom, a protest shows up. And There's people carrying signs that say "Stop corporate greed," and there's demonstrators that are saying, "Look, they're trying to break up unions." This is Dave Hilliard, who was at the protest. "You wouldn't have a lot of the rights you have as a worker if it weren't for unions. You just can't sit around these days and be on the sidelines. You're going to get run over." He's absolutely right, and people are starting to wake up and going, "Hey, you know what? Enough of only the pain and the sacrifice from us." And those guys not sacrificing anything. And how does Tom Donahue, the head of the Chamber of Commerce, react to this? With incredible disdain and smugness. According to the CBS News report on this, he questioned the intelligence of the protesters and said, quote, "Do you think they even know what a derivative is?" I added the smug laugh.